Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the KimUnity Soulutions Podcast, where we create conversations that empower and inspire all employees and their employers to improve their relationships and environments within and beyond the workplace. I am so glad to have you back this week. I am your host, Kim the SME. What does SME stand for? Speaker of my experiences. I'm coming to you from the employee perspective. Okay, so let's get into it. I hope you all have had a wonderful week. Today we're going to be talking about approachability. Are you approachable? What does it even mean? And why is it necessary? Or is it? So when I looked up the definition in the Oxford Dictionary, it says approachability means to be friendly, easy to talk to. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary states that it's easy to meet or deal with. Basically, you're accessible. Is that you? Is that what people say about you? I know for myself, after people get to meet me, they say, you know what? I didn't think you were very approachable at first. I'm used to it now, but I'm also not surprised. When I think about approachability, it's really about your perception, which means there's plenty of room for error for misconception. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Are you approachable? Is it even important? Is it even necessary? How does approachability vary between our personal lives and our professional lives? So let's get into it. Now, when I looked up this topic of approachability, being approachable, I found this website, and it is theverywellmind.com. And basically what I was looking for is, what does it look like to be approachable? That's what I was really trying to figure out. I have my own ideas, but I really wanted to see what everyone else was saying. So on this website, it's basically saying that to be approachable basically means that you're smiling, that you're available, that you are avoiding closed body language, like your arms are not crossed. You know, you have a nice stance, your head is up, you have good eye contact. But then it was going into the angle of your body and avoiding nervous habits. Well, if it's a habit and we're nervous, we really don't realize it at the time. Okay, so there are some things that I'm about to say from this website that I kind of question. Okay, so the next is to mirror the other person's image, to mirror their conversation or their tone, to nod during the conversation, to match their tone. Now, some of this, I would say, if I was experiencing it, I would say that it doesn't feel natural. It may feel disingenuous. And that's definitely not what we're trying to achieve, right? We want it to be natural. No one wants to approach you if you're being fake anyway. Do you agree? It also talked about sharing personal stories. So if someone does approach you with a story, maybe, then you're sharing your story or your experience as well. Well, that doesn't always come natural, not to everyone. Not everyone wants to share their personal experiences from the jump. Okay, so we really have to be realistic with this, because when you start forcing a conversation, when you start forcing being approachable and being open and being available, then, like I said before, the other person can feel it. It doesn't seem natural. We can tell that it's fake, especially when maybe like a forced smile. Have you ever seen that? Maybe they smile because they see you walking up towards them, but as soon as you're like ending the conversation or leaving, then their whole demeanor changes. It's forced. Or body language. Maybe they're just using their arms so much, or not at all. They're stiff. Forcing them to move, it would just look unnatural. Eye contact. I can recall being maybe like in classrooms or in meetings, in networking events, and people are speaking and then they're just staring right at you instead of glancing around the room. And so it makes that person feel kind of uncomfortable. Then they want to move or make some kind of adjustment to get that eye contact off of them. But also, if you're looking away, I do that sometimes. If I'm looking away as if, okay, please don't walk over here. I know I'm not the only one. But forcing this upon someone causes stress. And we really have to look at, why are we even in that position anyway? What are we doing there? Is it for work? Is it voluntary? So these are things that we all have to consider. Is, first of all, we have to think of ourselves. Are we in an environment that we want to be in the first place? Is the environment right? Are the other people in there like-minded to where you would want to be approached? Does it feel like a safe space? These are all things that we have to think about when we're talking about approachability. Because in all honesty, approachability is about perception and biases. Because when you see someone, you're automatically thinking of something. You're automatically judging. You are automatically classifying. And so it's very important that when thinking about approachability, that we are aware of that. And so in order to get past that, we have to realize these are only our thoughts and not reality. It's not until you actually do approach someone, engage in some kind of conversation or interaction, that you realize or that you identify that they too are approachable or not. I found this topic. I stumbled, not necessarily stumbled, but I chose this topic because I had a networking event coming up. And if you would have asked me a year ago, I would have said, yes, I'm an introvert, right? But I have chosen not to classify myself as that. It's almost like when I hear myself say that I'm an introvert, I automatically feel less than. I automatically feel like I'm making excuses for something. I'm trying to accommodate or buffer something. And I didn't want that feeling anymore. So no longer do I say I'm an introvert. I'm just Kim. So I hope that triggers something for you to say, hey, I'm going to stop calling myself this. If I may add, my networking event went very, very well over the weekend. I went to the Good Soil Conference for 2024, and it was amazing. I stepped out of my comfort zone, and I actually did a few interviews. If you listen to my previous episodes, you would hear that I'm a solo podcaster. For the most part, as of right now. All of my episodes have been just me and my experiences and what I have learned and how my experiences can help you in the workplace or outside of improving our relationships and environments. Because what I believe is that if we can resolve the challenges in the workplace, if we can identify them and resolve them, because we're all just people, right? We're just not at home. We're at work. But if we can resolve those challenges, then it positively impacts everyone else around us. On our way home, in traffic, once we get home, our children, our mood, our mode, everything is much more peaceful, more mindful, more considerate, right? So that's the angle that I'm coming from in this podcast. I hope you are enjoying it so far. Now, in the workplace, when we're talking about approachability, I also think of open door policies. Okay. And what I've realized is that being approachable and applying the open door policy, basically the difference is that one is company policy, but they both can be forced. They both can be not applied correctly or accurately or naturally. Basically being disingenuous. In the workplace, it's important to be approachable because we all have to work together. We are all trying to solve some kind of challenge. We are trying to complete tasks, and a lot of them intertwine. One department's work feeds into another, to the customer, to the vendor. It's all a unit. Each individual silo creates a product or supports a product. So being approachable in the workplace is important. Have you ever tried to speak to upper management or your manager and you can tell that now is not the right time to communicate? I mean, these are things that we all should be mindful of, even if in our personal relationships. Okay, is it a good time to discuss this? If somebody's just gotten off work and you want to complain about something, that's probably not the best time to communicate that. Now, in the workplace, being approachable, I had a brand new manager. I was used to a manager that I had for about 5 years, maybe 3, if I'm not mistaken, between 3 and 5. And everyone's door, all management's doors were always open, unless they were having a meeting or on a confidential phone call or a personal phone call or whatever. The door would always be open. But here comes this new hire manager. And every time she comes out of her office, you hear all these keys. And I wish I had some keys with me right now so you could hear the sound effect. But as soon as she would come out, every single time, you can hear her rambling for the keys. And then she slams the door, she locks it, then she leaves. And then 2 minutes later, she comes back, she's sitting down. And then she gets up, she locks the door. And it's like, you just got here. Like, do you think we're stealing? Do you think that you work with a bunch of thieves? And I can understand. She's new to the job. She doesn't really know us. Maybe she has something important in her office. Of course, the desk can be locked. There's a key for the lock, but it continued for months and months. And so that off the top made the team think that she was not approachable. There was some kind of secrecy. She didn't feel comfortable. It's little things like that. And I'm not sure if you're doing that in the office, but if you're listening and you're in a management position, be mindful, just the little things. And she may not have had any ill intent, but that is what is perceived. And that's what I'm getting to about approachability. It's all about perception. You want to feel like your employees or even your team and also teammate to teammate. You want to feel like you're approachable. Because there are going to be times, there definitely, that you have to discuss something. So once you are approached, it's basically to communicate. And then once that communication begins, it's important to have active listening. Because what's the point of having a one-sided conversation? Now you're having a conversation. You are hearing both sides, so you're hearing multiple perspectives. And that conversation can kind of tell you if that person is trustworthy or not. That conversation will either build trust or break trust. And it may take some time for that. It's not always instant that you can be able to identify that. But that is what helps us determine if you're trustworthy or not. Have you ever spoke to someone and you know you only told one person, but then it gets back to somebody else? So you already know that that person isn't trustworthy. And sometimes people like me, we use that to our advantage, right? We know you're going to say something, so we're going to tell you exactly what we want to be spread in the office or in our personal lives or within family. We're going to use that to our advantage. But once you're able to identify that, yes, this person is trustworthy. Yes, and they don't always have to be in agreement, right? They may open your mind. They may have a different perspective that you're introduced to, right? So then you're able to collaborate and you're able to bounce ideas off of each other. That's what we really want. That's how you're able to achieve solutions. That's how you're able to problem solve. That's how you're able to boost creativity and come up with new ideas and new ways of implementation or completion of a given project. And then with that communication, that open-mindedness, that trust, that collaboration, and the problem solving, that all creates a positive environment. That is what we all need. So it's very beneficial to be approachable. But the downside is that it's not just about the approach, it's about the interaction after. And also, when I was reading these definitions and the Oxford Dictionary said to be friendly, it's like, how are you friendly if you're just meeting them? But then I realized that approachability doesn't have to be the initial time, the very first time you're meeting someone. It can be continuous. Because the way that someone responded to you before, you're going to apply that. You're going to remember that for your next interaction. Every time you ask somebody a question and they do a deep or what is it now, or yes, Kim, or something like that, it's not approachable. It's not the initial time, but they've shown it every time, or they show it frequently. Now, am I approachable? I would say I am very approachable. At times, I know that I'm not. I'm a morning person, but when I was working in the office, in the mornings, I'm good for a good morning and a bye. I didn't really want too much more communication at the very beginning of the morning. Let me get my thoughts down. Let me look over the calendar. Let me complete a task or two, and then I can come back and revisit the conversation, be more welcoming, be more open. So you also have to be mindful that just because you're feeling talkative or you're feeling open or you have something to say doesn't mean the other person is ready. Doesn't mean that's a good time for the other person. A lot of misunderstandings occur because of the approach. So again, we have to be mindful that everyone doesn't look like us. Everyone doesn't act like us. Everyone doesn't behave like us. Everyone doesn't think. We all have different lived and unlived experiences. And so we have to take all of that into consideration. And expecting something other than what's natural is unfortunate. Expecting someone to change up just because it's stressful. It's disingenuous. It will not come out the way that you want it to. When I read from that verywellmind.com article where it stated that you should be matching their tone, no, I disagree with that. I disagree with that. Don't match my tone. This is my tone. Everyone doesn't like it, and it's not in everyone. It would be so inauthentic of you to match my tone. I believe that you should be you and I should be me, which means, again, we have to be more accepting of others. We have to be more mindful of everyone's differences. We have to be more welcoming, more understanding. We have to extend that grace that I'm always speaking about. Spend a little time, dig a little deeper, because it's not always laid out on the surface level. And this is how we get to unity. If you've listened to my previous episodes, you would know that I say unity can be achieved through karma, intuition, and mindfulness. By treating people how we want to be treated, by using our intuition and our gut and following it and listening to it, and also being mindful, extending grace and empathy and understanding. And this can be applied by anyone, regardless of your race, your religion, your gender, your income, your geographic location, your status, any of it. We all can apply it. When we speak about approachability in the workplace and the benefits that comes from communicating, we also have to take a look at how we treat our teammates, how management looks down sometimes on teammates who are having these sidebar conversations or being social in the workplace. Is not a bad thing. I've been in positions to where, certain managers didn't want you talking while you're working, or they don't want to hear you laughing. They'll come up and walk up and see, what's so funny. Why are you doing that? Why are you creating this toxic environment? Why don't you want your staff happy? Please realize that your staff is more productive when they are comfortable, when they are in good moods, when the environment is right, when they're not being hounded or looked over their shoulder. It's not difficult to figure out. It really isn't. But I've had those. I've even had where we've had construction, like they were rearranging the office, and once everything was done and the office was placed back together, they had assigned seating. They moved and they separated the people that were talking. And if they would have done any research, they would have seen that productivity would have slowed down. Just because you move someone from talking as adults, come on. You're not doing yourself, your team, your department, the company any favors. Please know that. Again, I'm coming from the employee perspective. You should be encouraging your staff to talk and to collaborate. And these are adults. These are not children. It also reduces conflict. It creates collaboration and teamwork. It allows for more team backup. So if someone is sick, someone is out, they don't mind working a little longer, a little harder to cover up for somebody else. They want to meet the deadline. So that's on the other side of being approachable, is allowing that flow of communication within the department, within the team. Then there's times that people don't feel open. Everyone has bad days. Be understanding of that. Maybe they have someone sick in their family. Maybe they receive some bad news. We should really be able to identify when someone is acting out of character. If you know someone is very chipper and very outgoing, and then one day they come in and they're somber and they don't feel like talking, don't force it. Give them some space. Give them some time. Let them open up. Find that time. Find that time that you should be approaching them. So when I say be mindful, that's what I'm saying. Give people grace and empathy. Be empathetic, I should say. Pretend that was you in their shoes. We also have to take into consideration, not everyone's a people person. Maybe they're nervous. That could always impact them being approachable. I mean, there's just so many misconceptions about it. So when I say that approachability is important, it is, again, but we have to understand that it's all based off of biases initially. Just because I'm quiet or I'm reserved or I'm sitting by myself, it doesn't mean that I'm not approachable. Maybe it means that I am an introvert. Maybe that means that I am nervous. Maybe that means that I am, dreading for that next person to say something. Maybe I feel awkward. Maybe I feel like I stumble over my words. So what you see is not necessarily what you get or what that person is. Some people are very direct. I would say that's me. When you ask me a question, I'm very direct. I have a strong voice. I know that. From a distance, someone else may see that as not being approachable. But that's just who I am. Just like right now, there's many people that may seem or think that I am angry. But this is just my normal tone. If you could see me right now, you could see that I'm smiling. But I'm very direct. I do not prefer small talk. So if I'm an introvert and I'm direct, please, if you see me, don't come up and try to have, a lot of small talk conversations. I can really get into it if we're talking about major issues going on in the world, in the workplace, personal lives sometimes. That's the other thing. What is the conversation based on? Are you speaking about your personal life and you expect me to do the same? You are sadly mistaken because I don't know you or I'm not comfortable with you. I'm not comfortable sharing that information. Some people have a hard time sharing or combining personal life with professional. There's someone in your workplace who doesn't want to tell you about their weekend come Monday morning, Monday afternoon, when you go around the table and say, okay, how was your weekend? Not everyone is comfortable telling you about their weekend. So when they say it was great and yours, take that. You don't have to ask for more details. You don't have to ask for more details. That is what they are willing to give. That is all that they are willing to give. Be mindful. Not everyone has your same lived and unlived experience. What about titles? I've never been a fan of titles, but I have seen people fan out over seeing the CEO walk by, or, the CFO or the president or the owner or whoever it may be. But maybe some people don't feel that they can approach someone because of their title, or they don't feel approachable because of their title. They feel less than, or on the other side of that, they feel more than. They feel above. What about walking fast? That can also be a misconception. Because, and my husband has pointed this out to me, but I walk very fast when I'm out in public. So yes, it may seem like I am unapproachable, but really I'm on a mission. So it's not that I'm not approachable, but now is not a good time. I'm going somewhere. I'm headed somewhere. I have something to do. So now is not a good time. And that could be the gist of it all. Now is not a good time. But when I come back, or when that mission is completed, you'll probably see me be more approachable, more available. I know some of you are saying, well, I could care less what people think. And I can see that. I'm the same way at some point. I really don't care if you think I'm approachable or not. But once you do approach me, then you will see if your perception was accurate or not. But what we can't do is worry about what everyone else thinks. That is what I want to get to. That is the solution. We cannot worry about what every person thinks of us, especially when they have not met us. Your biases determine who you believe is approachable or not. It is not until you have that initial interaction or further down the line that you are able to prove that out. But what is not healthy is forcing it, being fake, inauthentic, matching someone else's energy. Why not have them match yours? Why do you need to why match when we are not the same? Let's just learn from each other. Put yourself first and be mindful of others. And you never know. Maybe the environment doesn't feel safe. Maybe the person approaching doesn't feel safe. Biased or not, I don't know. But I'm just saying that could be the reason why someone's guard is up. Why they don't feel like talking, or they've overheard how you have been interacting with someone else. Maybe they're really trying to avoid you. That's why they're not approachable. Maybe they're not comfortable in that environment. I've been places before where it's like, okay, I'm not comfortable here. Let me check out these surroundings. Let me put my safeguards up. It's time to go. So all in all, I'm wondering, are you approachable? What would others say about you? Does it matter? And is it important? No, it doesn't matter what other people say about you or think about you. Approachability, true and authentic approachability, does allow for communication and collaboration and trust and creating a positive environment in future friendship. in problem solving is very important in our personal and our professional lives. But it's not something that we have to force or match or fake. Now, if you choose to work on it, you can. If you know this is a area that you're deficit in, if you're trying to network, then yes, smile a little. Use some positive body language. Look inviting, look open. But also be you. I am your host, Kim the SME. As always, I am only speaking from my experiences. I hope you have enjoyed this conversation. I thank you for tuning in to the KimUnity Soulutions Podcast. I hope you check out our website, www.KimUnitySoulutions.com, where you can buy merch. Please check out our previous episodes if you enjoyed this one. And I look forward to speaking with you all and sharing more stories, more tips, more real life experiences in the next episode. You all have a blessed one. Bye-bye.